Hey guys, it's Bellipotens. I haven't made a video in quite a bit, so here's an update on the Repti Breeze screen cage that I have purchased. And after that pothos plant setup that I created, as you guys can see, it is growing beautifully. I added additional plants and twigs for him so he can have a variety of levels to pick from. He tends to like to sleep back there at night. During the day he's sort of here in the mid region. If he decides to want to get a little warmer, he'll go up there. In terms of the mister, it's been doing really great. I'm very pleased with it, very happy. I did definitely max out the amount of time that it's on, because it gives him enough time to spot where the water is dripping, go up to there and start drinking. Sometimes he will go all the way down. That's why I included that bamboo stick down there, and start drinking from the water reservoir, which is for humidity and also for him to see where the water is dripping. Sometimes the crickets gone in there. That's another reason why I put the bamboo stick, so the crazy crickets can escape out of there and not drown. Some of you guys asked me for a care video, so I'll include a few information here. First of all, in terms of chameleon care, most chameleons, if not all, do not really like to be handled. They're not creatures like, let's say, bearded dragons, where, so like, let's say my Rocky loves to be handled, loves to sleep on my chest when I'm watching TV. Chameleons are more for viewing pleasure. Definitely, if you have to kind of put it in terms of chameleon types, the Panther chameleon like mine is less stressed from handling, but overall you really would want to have them as something to look at, something to enjoy. Of course, sometimes you will have to pick them up, move them, but I try to limit that for sure. So stress is a very important aspect before even getting a chameleon. You do want to make sure you have a hiding spot for him. That's why I made sure he has a few areas where he can escape from, hide from us here. So, you know, if let's say you were in a glass chamber like this, would you always want everyone staring at you? No, you would want your little temporary corner to just hide away from everything for a while. So stress is something that you need to take into very important consideration. It has a tremendous impact on chameleon health. Next off would be the cage itself. Most chameleons are arboreal species, meaning they live up in the trees, so you do want to have a high enclosure like this one that I have over here. So it is 36 inches tall, 18 depth and 18 width. I feel it's good enough for my adult Panther chameleon. So that's the size I would definitely recommend. Secondly, a screen cage, as this Repti Breeze chameleons like and need airflow. You do not want to put them into a true glass terrarium. Definitely it is easier to keep the temperature and humidity in a glass terrarium, but again, chameleons really need that airflow. Sometimes even if it gets a little warmer in the summer, or if I see the temperatures rising on the thermometer, I actually do sometimes put a fan here closer towards the cage, and part of the cage I just let the fan blow on, and he actually likes it. Sometimes he goes down there and just chills in the air, goes up, warms himself up. So a lot of air movement and variety of temperatures is extremely important for chameleons. Again, Panther chameleons are a little bit more hardy compared to some other types. For him, I really like to keep him, in terms of the day, a gradient. So there are areas where really he will go up and he can warm himself up. Some people go really crazy in terms of the ranges. I definitely don't want to drop the temperature at night really below room temperature for him. Sometimes I will leave the heat lamp on. Honestly, in my opinion, I'm a little scared leaving this stuff on at night. So if it is winter and it gets really cold, I might leave it on, the top one up here, but not this one on the side. This is a new addition that I added for more heat control. Next off would be also the UVB lighting. So you already have heat lamps. UVB lighting, again, I use the Exoterra 200 UVB with my bearded dragon here. I use the next one down. I also have the natural light to allow the plant to grow and live comfortably. Natural plants, you want that light in here. So again, temperature gradient, not below really room temperature. I wouldn't drop. And you do want to have a really hot spot, medium heat, cool and also an area where he could escape from. So in my book, that's what I care about. I'm not that crazy in temperatures. I think if I was him, how would I feel? Is it warm and comfortable in here? They are already cold-blooded creatures, so they will be adapting to the environment. So that's then in terms of temperature and heat lamps. I always want to have a thermometer. Sometimes I will have an additional one back up there and a little bit lower, just so I can see again quickly that temperature gradient. If I'm not happy with it, I will increase some of the temperatures. I'll leave one light on longer than the others. But most of the time, let's say when I leave the house, I do leave the UVB and the natural light. The other two I will turn off again for safety purposes. If it is winter, I'll leave the top one over here because I do feel more safe with that. So that's the cage setup. Again, you know, you do want to give them a lot of areas where they can climb and walk. I don't want them really walking on the screen cage, especially for the nails. For larger chameleons, they can break them, they could get stuck. So that's why I created this whole setup here in terms of the plants and the leaves, as well as the branches, so that he can climb on this and prefer to walk on this highway than on the side. So that's my main thing here. There have been people that have been putting like these plastic fences from Home Depot. I actually did that initially. You can zip tie it to the enclosure and he'll walk on that, which gives him again more grip, so he can actually grip it with his hand instead of actually just sticking his nails into this. Next thing would be, what are some of the supplements? Definitely I use the Fluker's high calcium cricket diet. So I gut feed my crickets before I feed them to my animals. The tropical mist humidifying spray is great, especially when the animal is shedding. So that's from Zilla. It does help a bit. Sometimes I just really make sure that I'm spraying them well and they're well hydrated. That's really the key of good shedding. Waxworms, I use them as treats from time to time. And definitely very important, you do want to have your powders of calcium and multivitamins. So I alternate in terms of what I give to them. So this would be like a mini package of what I use. I have a lot more products, but this would be the basics of what you should be using. You do want to have a little cricket setup for yourself too in one of the plastic containers, as you have seen in one of my other videos, how to create a cricket setup. Again, I allow the crickets to eat the food first, gut load, get nice and fat before I feed them to the chameleon. I will first dust them in a little plastic bag and then I'll feed them to him. I either throw them into the cage or I feed them to him from the hand. Again, remember, as I said, guys, if you do have a particular spot, let's say for your wax worms, for your calcium worms, phoenix worms, you do want to alternate it from one area to the other so he just doesn't get used to one particular spot, because chameleons can develop also tongue issues, right? If you're just doing one particular exercise in one motion, that particular muscle will get only strong, and sometimes it can create deviations in their tongue. So I tend to just throw them in there after I dust them. Yes, it's not the greatest part because the crickets lose the calcium from them, but when he's really hungry, he really quickly goes after them. Sometimes I do put also a tray down here to keep the crickets, so if I really want to make sure that he gets the dusted crickets, that's what I'll do. That would be more or less the general idea, and again, setup of kind of like a care video for my chameleon. I will be coming out with more videos in the future, but I wanted to show you guys a quick update and give you a few facts in terms of chameleon care. If you guys have any questions, just post them under the videos. So once again, this is the update of the Panther chameleon setup. The pothos plant is growing beautifully. My chameleon is definitely happy. Here he is, growing nicely. He has turned beautiful colors. Last night he turned into this turquoise blue. Looked almost like the one of the blue face panthers. Also, when he gets a little angry, if he sees himself in the mirror, he turns into a beautiful orange red. But again, I limit his stress levels. Last but not least, another thing that just came into my mind is you want to look at the chameleon's eye. If it is nicely popped out like that, equally on the sides, on both sides, you know that he's well hydrated. Once the eye starts sinking in a bit, it shows dehydration, most likely that the chameleon is sick. Also, if there's like a black spot on his body. He's not moving a lot. That's yet another indication there's something wrong, something's going on. Check it out. Sometimes chameleons also have prolapse, so that can be also a deficiency of some vitamins, or excess of some vitamins. So you always want to check for any abnormalities, and then advise with your local exotic vet, or try to initially find out some information online, or you can even post it on my website and ask some questions if you have any. All right, take care, guys.